Now we have a keynote session by Raka Sinha, International Brand Marketing Director, L'Oreal, on the topic Marketing Technology and Innovation.
Hi, I'm Raka Sinha, and I will be talking today about marketing, technology, innovation, and how one can use these to tackle the biggest challenge of our future. And you may ask me, what is the biggest challenge of our future? I believe it is the health of our planet, our environment, and our society. Because I think before marketeers, we are all human beings first. And I think as human beings, this is a subject that touches each one of us, no matter where we are. Whether it is where I grew up personally for me in India, in Bombay, the water crisis one sees in some of the cities in India, or the air pollution, not just in the big cities in India, but all over Asia, or where I am today in Paris. Recently, I was at a vacation in Mont Blanc in the mountains, and the word Mont Blanc literally translated in French means white mountain, and it was called that because it was covered in snow. Today, when you go there, you actually don't see the white mountain, you just see gray, barren stone. And where there used to be snowfall earlier, you have rain. And all this to say that I think wherever you are on the planet, there is no escaping the fact that this is a real challenge. But today, my objective is not to highlight why this is a real challenge or why this is an emergency. I think as responsible marketeers, we have all woken up to this fact. My objective today is to talk of the opportunity that this presents to incorporate sustainability in our everyday business, to minimize the negative impact of our actions, but to actually go beyond that to see how we can play a positive role and how we can have a positive impact around us. I'm currently working at L'Oreal, and this topic is highly strategic and a very high priority for us at the group. Talking of opportunity, let's start with the consumer. Historically, one of the real challenges we had as marketeers was that this whole topic of planet health, social impact was relatively lower on the consumer's priorities. The challenge we faced was when we spoke about this, the consumers would say it's nice to have, but it's not something that they saw a value add in or something where they would justify a premium. In fact, we often saw that affordability was the first and foremost criteria. And for some consumers, health was a big criteria. But the whole planet and social impact really appealed as a first priority to very, very few consumers. I believe it was because affordability and health were often seen as benefits for themselves. And the planet and social impact was often seen as a benefit for others, and which is why no real value add for me. But today, having lived through 2020, this paradigm has changed dramatically. This is a study here by EY Future Consumer Index that reflects what we are seeing across the board. Affordability still remains the number one criteria for 32% consumers. But look at the number of consumers that place planet first and social impact first. Put together, this is 31% consumers, even bigger than those that put health first. I think the boundaries between planet health, social impact, and your personal health and well being has completely blurred. What is important to note is that this is no longer a concern only in the sophisticated Western markets. In fact, this slide here is a worldwide picture. And interestingly, in the same study, the numbers on planet first and social impact first were actually bigger in countries like Brazil and India, countries that have experienced a more severe pandemic in the last 2 years, making them realize that planet health, social impact, and your personal health are inextricably linked. So, the relevance of this subject is global. What is important is that when we speak of planet and social impact, we must talk about the pressing local realities, which may be different by country. In China, for example, it's air pollution. In Europe, it is climate change. In India, it could be access to health. In Brazil, it could be the failing biodiversity. But as marketeers, we must understand that this is no longer about an extreme consumer that one imagines hugging trees. No, this is a mainstream consumer demand today. So now that we have established the urgent need to do something for the planet and the real pressing consumer demand for this, let's start with discussing how do we define the scope of our sustainability initiatives. I have shared an example of L'Oreal here. You can read up on our commitments online. They are a part of our initiative, L'Oreal for the Future, encompassing our planet commitments as well as our social commitments. I won't go into all the details today. I will share some snippets as examples. But first, I want to share the 4 golden rules of defining the scope on sustainability. Number 1, make sure you take a holistic approach on sustainability. Why? Because all the initiatives and all the aspects of sustainability are highly interconnected. When you talk about climate change, it is linked to biodiversity. Equally, when you talk about water management, it links to natural resources. You cannot focus on one aspect and choose to ignore all the others. Equally, when we talk of holistic, we have to look at not just our offer or our product being sustainable, but we must ensure that the entire life cycle accounts for sustainability. And what that means is that are your suppliers, are the initiatives that you're using to source, is your distribution chain also playing its part? Are your consumers playing their part when they interact with your product, when they consume the product, when they dispose the product? For example, you have a pack that is recyclable, but have you educated the consumer on how they need to recycle it, where they need to recycle it? Is it the cap or is it only the pack? Similarly, are there recycling streams available locally where they will be consuming and disposing the product? It has to be holistic if it has to truly have a positive impact. Number 2, have clear KPIs. Set objectives that are specific, measurable, and within a specific time frame. And let that time frame be 2025 or at best 2030. Like I said, this is an emergency. We don't have more time. Number 3, speaking of objectives, push for big, audacious goals, commit publicly, and then find ways to make it happen. At L'Oreal, we have taken an approach with L'Oreal for the Future, where we have worked with scientific experts that laid out for us what the planet needs us to do. It's not about what you want to do. It's really about the need from the planet in terms of its planetary boundaries. And then you have to play your part. And lastly, number 4, digital, tech, science are your greatest allies in this fight. A tech innovation I want to talk of here is the L'Oreal Water Saver that we showcased in CES 2021. This is an example from our hair care business. Do you know what is the part that consumes the most energy and water within the hair care business? It's not the factory, it's not the distribution, it's you and me. When we consume hair care products under the shower in our homes, it's because when you're using a shampoo and conditioner, you're standing under the shower in hot water, and this is where 90% of water and 80% of energy is consumed in hair care. So of course, we have in our portfolio products that are easy rinse or fast rinse, because that means less time under the shower and therefore less water and less energy. But, and here is where the consumer truth comes in to be authentic, there is a consumer tension. Just because you offer a product that is easy to rinse or fast to rinse does not mean the consumer will spend less time under the shower. In fact, the consumer does not want to reduce the time spent under the shower because there is a whole sensorial aspect, a real joy in standing under the warm water. And therefore, we have approached it in a very different manner. This is where L'Oreal Water Saver comes in. In partnership with Gyoza, we have developed a shower head that creates droplets that are 10 times smaller than a regular shower. These smaller water droplets are dispersed in an accelerated manner to ensure an effective rinse and also give the same sensorial pleasure to the user. We have started this launch in salons and we will extend eventually in home. For the salons, this also links in to a dashboard that allows the salon to see the reduction in water and energy consumed and therefore quantify the savings for their business. Here, my advice would be when you have an idea that you think works, don't be afraid to start small, test, learn, prototype, because remember, every drop saved is precious. Another example, plastic. We know by 2050, there will be more plastic in oceans than fish. The L'Oreal Packaging Roadmap has several bold initiatives that again take an out-of-the-box approach to this problem. Reducing the plastic in our tubes by 45% by making them out of cardboard, an example from our brand La Roche-Posay. Or moving to shampoo bars, which results in zero plastic waste on Garnier. Or leveraging brands like Kiehl's, where we have retail stores, to offer the concept of refills on their Kiehl's products, so consumer can walk in with their pack and refill just the product in their existing pack. Or prototyping new technologies that move from mechanical recycling to enzymatic recycling. For plastic with our brand Biotherm. Here I would say don't hesitate to bring in external partners to share their technologies, like we have done in some of these examples, or also in the L'Oreal Water Saver. Also push to get external certifications. They will enhance your credibility. They will push you to more stringent action standards. And finally, push yourself to big goals. At L'Oreal, we have committed on plastic. 100% of our plastic will be refillable, reusable, recyclable, or compostable by 2025. And by 2030, we will no longer use any virgin plastic of fossil origin. Once you have a clear action plan, it is important to tell your story. 3 important factors when you say your story. I'm going to start with the basics. There is no scope to greenwash anymore. We have seen it all in the last 10 years. Brands that claim low emissions with absolutely no scientific backing, or brands taking some token action while trying to distract from core issues. There is no scope for this anymore. You have consumers out there with millions of followers. They are trusted, and these consumers will not be afraid to call you out. Equally, there are apps available. Yuka, EcoScore, Think Dirty, many more. With a click of a barcode on the pack, the consumer will know what your product does for the environment, for their health, what are the ingredients in there, and what is the quality of these ingredients. And I think on a topic like this, consumer trust lost is equal to the consumer lost. And moving from false claims to another real issue, the confusion around what is good and what is bad where sustainability is concerned. I'm often asked by friends who use our products that why don't you use glass in packaging instead of plastic? But actually glass is not always better. It requires a lot more energy in the production as well as in the distribution. And herein, with all this lack of accurate knowledge, I believe there are some brands that are promoting this confusion and in fact compounding it to their gains. We need to take the onus of clearing the fog on our industry, demystifying and educating consumers. Here I'm going to share an initiative we have undertaken at L'Oreal. We wanted consumers to have information on the environmental impact of our products that they consume so that they can make informed choices. So we have devised a method of scoring the impact of our products. This has been done, of course, in consultation with 11 independent scientists, in line with the European Commission guidelines and verified by an external auditor. How it is designed is that you take a product, and for every product, we analyze the entire life cycle, right from sourcing to manufacturing to distributing to in-use to disposing of the pack, the recycling of the pack, where the formula ends up in the environment. Every aspect has been analyzed across 14 parameters. And with this analysis, you see each product has a score, which is compared to other products within the same category for L'Oreal. So your shampoo will have a score between A to E. A and B being products that are relatively better in terms of carbon and water impact. C being somewhere on the average, and D and E being less good. And for those who want more details beyond just a letter or a score, they can refer to several other parameters on the environmental and societal impact of a product, like I have shared in this slide. All this will be freely available on our website, and we are in the process of launching this in a phased manner across categories and across countries. We have just started in France. This is really about giving consumers access to transparent and accurate information about every product that they choose to consume. It is about empowering them so that they feel more reassured about their sustainability and consumption choices. Finally, while telling your story, remember This is not just about facts and figures. In fact, this is a subject that evokes very strong emotions. After all, it is the legacy we will leave behind for our children and for the future generations. So don't restrict your communication to only very rational messaging. And to inspire you, I'm going to share a piece that really stands out for me. It takes the iconic composition of Vivaldi, the Italian composer, Four Seasons, which was made famous because he very effectively captured the brightness of spring in music, or the sweetness of summer, or the rustic sounds of autumn, or the melancholy of winter, were all effectively captured with music. This piece was reinterpreted and called Four Seasons for Climate Change. It's a musical rendition of what seasons are going to be like in 2050 if nothing is done. And you will see there are no more happy birds. There is a lot of thunderstorms, and the piece is quite disturbing. And really, this was the objective, to really shake people up in a more emotional context.
The last decade has now been declared the warmest on record.
Extinction of much of the natural world is on the horizon.
Climate change has become the biggest threat to life on Earth, a threat so overwhelming people prefer to ignore it. The NDR Elbphilharmonie Orchestra wanted to use the power of music to make people listen. With a team of software developers and music arrangers, we adapted the Four Seasons to today's weather conditions. Custom-built algorithms used 300 years of climate data to recompose Vivaldi's masterpiece. Today's winter is 51 bars shorter. Motifs of summer already arrive in spring. Vivaldi's violin trills, mimicking bird sounds, had to be reduced by 15% to represent the decline in bird populations. The flashing violin solos of summer's occasional thunderstorms now cloud the entire piece. The result is disturbing. The balance is lost, just like nature itself. After months of work, the Four Seasons premiered to the world at the Elbphilharmonie in Hamburg and live on Facebook. Our message was picked up fast, and the sound of climate change was heard by millions.
Wir haben ein bekanntes Musikstück
To be composed using climate data.
відтворили нотатки.
Elbphilharmonie findet ein außergewöhnliches Konzert statt.
We made climate change audible, and finally people started to listen.
Two final thoughts. Something you won't hear me say too often, but in this case, collaborate with your competitors. We are all in this emergency together. When I spoke about the product impact score that we are working on at L'Oréal for our products, it is something we have devised working as a consortium with our competitors, Henkel, Unilever, Natura, and more. And we are inviting other competitors to join in. And second, this topic is not to be led by the sustainability committee in your organization, and nor is it about a one-time big donation that you make. No, it really starts across the top management, and then like a lens, it must refract in everything you do across everybody in your organization and really in your everyday business. It must be firmly embedded into your daily business model to ensure your sustainability initiatives can have a positive impact and durable impact.
Thank you, Ms. Sinha, for all the important content you have shared today. Ladies and gentlemen, now we'll move to track 4, which is CX. Stay tuned.